more so what I'm talking about.
If you are just joining us, this is kind of an ultra relaxed version of the weekly tournament because for whatever reason, Street Fighter V decided that it's going to eat up all my CPU and run poorly, so that I can't necessarily commentate the match. It's running at a speed of which is unwatchable, and because of that, we're just hanging out and shooting the shit. We're just having a good time, letting the tournament play out. Let these guys get their matches in. I'm just gonna say this, by the way, while we're.
But you think it's more confident, Delzon? I thought it was just I'm getting more comfortable. I would say, not necessarily more confident. I'm still scared every time I do this shit.
Round one.
But what is some advice you have for people wanting to get into commentary? That's a really good question, Joe.
Number one, people trying to get into commentating.
Appreciate that. No, I like hearing stuff like that, Delzon. Please, if anyone got stuff like that,
is node play. And by that I mean, if you can't just come in with your preconceived notions of what you think, like who you're gonna be and what you're gonna say, and commentary at all times. Like, if we're talking about like actual practical lessons on how to get into commentating, I would say like actually practice on real matches, or watch matches and commentate over them as they play out, just for practice, which is extremely hard. That's like doubly extremely hard to do because there's not a crowd, there's not any feedback other than you just watching a match. Super fucking difficult to do, and like not an actual real representation of a match. And the excitement and energy that goes through a match. So the second thing I would say, like actual in practice, if someone hands you a mic and says "fucking go," we need a warm body to make words with their mouth into this microphone while this game is playing. More often than not, you're gonna be with someone. You're gonna be with a person who either may or may not know what they're doing. In that case. Okay, so in that case, like for example, when you you have to always be honest about things, and know to fucking play. You can't make calls on things you don't know about, but at the same time, you're not at a loss if you don't know exactly what's happening. You can play that to your strength. So, for example, something that you might say is, "Now, what is that safe on block?" You might just ask that, and then, I may or may not know the answer, for example, and that could be a conversation about the risks that a person's taking. The other thing you could say is, well, how does this character want to run this matchup? A really good example of this is actually if you listen back to, or go back to, what was it? I'm dropping the name of it. It was back in Street Fighter 4 era where they had. Thanks to this. Okay, Fight Night on fucking ESGN. ESGN TV's Fight Night. Bringing it back to that. On mic, they had a person who did not know anything about Street Fighter and Gootecks. And the person who didn't know anything about Street Fighter, other than saying Gen's name wrong, kept saying Gen, which was fucking hilarious. Other than that, it was a very good example of them just asking questions and being really honest about what they knew about the game. Because you can see and obviously tell in a fighting game when someone's getting hit and say oh, here comes the damage. You can get excited and get hype about a thing as it's happening in the moment, even though you might not necessarily know the play. However, after the fact, or kind of during the the mental moments of where players are playing against each other's minds in the neutral, that's when you can open up and ask questions, which then allows another player, maybe a more technical player, or someone who's just like, "I'll fucking do it. Let's see them slug it out." Like that might be able to something to like bounce off of someone else if you're not confident about the current play. But the other end of that is like, what if the person is like really trying to railroad the conversation and talk about tech? That might be boring. So you actually have to exert yourself and be like, we're not talking about tech right now. And you're not going to say that out loud. You're just going to go like, oh, here comes the, and like hype it up and get excited about over top of the person who's trying to talk about the tech of what's going on. That could be another trick. Mike too strong, people and losers play it out. Yes, is my answer to that.
You mind if I jump in here?
Where at? What are you talking about?
On this topic?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. If you want to.
Because I mean, if anything, it's something you may or may not know. Last year, do you know when I started commentating with you, Joe? Because this was my first time starting to commentate. Do you remember a month? I was trying to remember it. I really have no idea.
Yeah, I don't recall exactly, but I don't think it was I don't think it was a calendar year ago. I wouldn't say.
I know that, but I know it was like the last year. But I'm not too sure. So I'm not even a year into commentating, and so I'm living proof of it as
6 months.
As Joe was saying. It's definitely hard because like take Injustice, for instance. I am an Injustice guy. I've always been. I know Injustice inside and out. But like Joe was saying, like when I come up to do the commentary, and he's like, "Well, explain it." That's a whole different. Like I know Injustice. I know what I see. I know what happens. I know what people want to do. But to explain it and to break it down into a commentary fashion is a whole different genre, field that I had to learn, and it was not easy. And I haven't practiced in a while, but I did this YouTube series. I still do this YouTube series, and actually, I mean, shameless plug, but if you want me to commentate your matches, I've always done that through CFN, and I have a whole bunch of people. I have a whole bunch of videos on my YouTube page, and that's how I started practicing because I figured I had to practice because I had to get better. It's definitely tough. I would definitely say you gotta work on your speed too as well, because like Joe was saying, like getting into tech and breaking it down to a T is not actually a bad thing, but it's kind of hard to do as the matches are going on. Like you could be breaking down the tech and explaining what just happened in that certain situation, but the person's getting hit with a critical art and the match is over. Like that's probably one of the hardest parts of commentating. And also be yourself. I feel like the Reddit community, like this little that comes to this weekly on Monday and stuff like that, they know like you guys are chill. You guys troll each other, but you don't really troll us at all. But I feel like as soon as like I do a tournament or something like that, they're like, "Oh, this guy's gonna be trying too hard to be Tasty Steve, and he's trying too hard to be Yipes." No, I'm gonna be heard. I'm always gonna be heard. Never gonna be nobody else but be heard. I feel like as long as you're yourself and you're having fun with it, then it will show through the product. And I feel like a lot of times people try to be somebody else. Just be you. Just be you. Be cool. Have fun. You know what I'm saying? It's not too hard. It's not too hard, like, as long as you have the right partner. Like, Joe Monday helped me out way more than...
Yeah, that can
probably.
Be,
you probably helped me out more. Honestly, you probably helped me more than a teacher. Like you know the picture where Scottie Pippen's carrying Jordan after the flu game. That's what you've been doing to me. And like, Pippen. I think it's kind of how I like to be taught too. Like where you give me enough space to kind of go, but you give me enough. Well, I don't want to say rope because that's that terrible analogy, but I was gonna say to hang myself. But you give me enough to let me go and let me like commentate, but then you also give me enough to where I can ask questions and stuff like that. And also, it's a dumb mindset to have, but make sure you don't act like you don't know anything. Because as soon as I learned that as soon as, at least with me, I learned that as soon as I act like I know everything, I don't ask questions. I don't watch. I took notes today, ladies and gentlemen. I took notes on characters and V skills and V triggers. Watched videos and breakdowns. You know how boring that is, especially when you already kind of know the character. But I still do it just because I'm unsure. Like, you know what I'm saying? I always want to be practicing my craft. I haven't been practicing my commentary, so I have to take notes and enhance it. That's also, like I said, that was also a reason I didn't commentate last week, because I was feeling sick, but like I don't know, I just wasn't confident in my commentary, so I was like, let me not just say random stuff, but actually be on point.
And again, I do want to iterate, anyone who is listening or watching right now, which surprise, like I kind of don't know why we've maintained this number of viewers throughout, because like the game itself is running very poorly on my computer for whatever reason this week. However, with that
there's
said,
also on certain parts too.
Yeah. With that said, Symphony. Yeah, I've been trying to make this point all night, but the game is continually eating up CPU. It is eating more and more every week, and it's to the point now where it's preventing the game to run properly to view. So next week I'm switching over to PS4 and we'll try and make this a better viewing situation. But from a commentary standpoint, I physically cannot commentate this. It's not, even from a viewer standpoint, not something that... And again, I apologize for the players who are on stream. That's kind of not necessarily respectful to you, even though it is kind of weird and funny to watch in a funky kind of way. However, the matches are still going on, and there is like proof of whoever won the match or won the tournament will be on stream. So that part is good enough. But for you, the listener and the viewers, we're just kind of shooting the shit, talking about stuff, taking viewer questions, talking about, Cloudstrife, PC Master Race. Oh, what a sick combo. It's rough. Okay, Dream March, I might try and do that too, because it was only after Arcade Edition launched where I had this particular brand of slowdown. After AE, the game was just like, hey, when we had that conversation about running good, and it was just like, that's the thing, Del Zonefire. I've got some fucking specs. I've got two. I run SLI. I run a couple of graphics cards in SLI. I've got the GPU. I've got the CPU. I'm running strong right now. I'm not running a toaster. But Street Fighter V is running my computer into a toaster. Yep. All up to date. Everything's all up to date. Regardless, let's talk about some other stuff, because I can't keep talking about how the game is running and how things are. It just makes me sad.
So, any more questions from the chat? The last question was a good one. Where's my man 300 grand at?
Can you run?
Flakes been asking.
I don't think you can run those GPUs in SLI. I thought that was NVIDIA.
Flake's been asking all the good questions. All right, shout out to you, Flakes.
Yeah.
And also, I mean, to anyone else's point, like Dazon was making, I'm just asking out of curiosity, not to stroke my own ego, but everybody likes to do that. But anyone that's seen me from the beginning, have I improved?
I think.
Or sound more confident? I like to think I sounded the same. I mean, knowing what I talk about, that's you absolutely right on that part. I can't lie about that. But what'd you say, Joe? My bad.
No, I think you've improved. I would definitely say you've improved. Hopefully I've improved. Fuck.
don't know, Joe. I feel like you know everything. You got the book down. you wrote a book. God damn it. What more is there for you to learn?
Because there's certain nuances to how like you got to present things. I'm trying to think about that recently. Like if you've noticed, I've stopped saying the word shimmy.
Yeah.
I don't say that anymore. I say throw bait now because it's a little more nuanced. Not everything is a shimmy. Sometimes you gotta bait a throw because that's technically what it really is. I
don't know. I just like
that verbiage in particular is more descriptive to viewers who are not familiar with the lingo.
Cause like I don't know. I just like shimmy because maybe ODB and like I could like shimmy yeah. Like I don't know. I just feel like I can play with the word more.
I am super with you on that. Anytime you you call the name of ODB on this stream, I will be with you. If you want me to let you know who's got Dirty's money, I will let you know who's got Dirty's money.
Got your money. Hey there. Oh shit.
So fucking good.
So good.
I will let you know, but
Round 2.
but the word itself is, for me at least, and the way that I actually think it's good that one other person is using a different term for it, because then you get context clues as a listener. Like, think about it this way, like, if you say shimmy all the time, and I only say throw bait, then a listener who might not be familiar with fighting games could parse from the way that we use language that, oh, a throw bait is a shimmy.
Zangief win.
What got you into commentating? I was ass at fighting games. Still ass at fighting games. That's why I got in. I like fighting games. But nah, besides that, in actuality, I think it's literally everything I want to do in my life. Because it has to do with video games. You get to travel. People get to listen to me. I get to be funny. And I get to speak my mind and say whatever I want, really. It's literally everything I wanted in my life and more.
You should try stand-up.
Yeah, I don't know.
You get all that
did.
stuff and it pays just as well, which is to say it doesn't pay at all.
I don't know. I never tried. You know, I did take a class, but I never went up and did some stand-up. I kind of regret that.
I actually would say anyone who's looking to get into commentary, learn about improv. At least take 1 or 2 lessons on improv. In that, it will help you with any other co-commentator, because that's really the clutch thing, is that you have to be able to bounce off of your co-commentator well enough in any given situation. You could be on mic with any Joe Schmo that you don't know and try and have some kind of chemistry. And to do that, there's a lot of improv skills that you can employ. Like, for example, the classic, like, yes and, is you have to yes and your co-commentator. Regardless of what alley they go down them with it, go down that alley with them, and you can divert from that alley. You could say, yes, that was an incredible shimmy, but let's talk about this, what just happened now, because fighting games are so fast. Like, you can bounce to the next topic almost immediately, and that level of agreement is, like, kind of key, because you don't want to, and it doesn't play well on mic if you're always like, no, that's not really true, so this, or like, I don't think that's entirely true, or that's not really +4 on block, is it? That's +3, co-commentator. Because then they have to receive that information and go, what? That happened like 3 seconds ago. The match is actually already over. What the fuck are we talking about? It's it doesn't play well when you're constantly correcting or at least like backpedaling on your own co-commentator. So it benefits you more to say like the yes and. Anyway. Alright, who's going to play against SF5DDM here? Send him an invite. Maybe nobody.
So Joe, how out of your 5 years of doing this, how many commentators have you had, like partners?
Like long-term partners? Gosh. I'd say like probably four long-term partners. For the longest time, it was me and Johnny Doll, who, like, years and years we co-commentated. Then it was Penguin. Then there was Little Middle Area, maybe like Kamikaze Warrior in there a little bit. And then you, really. So not many. I try and stick with people that are available, like, or like will always be, because that's the other thing, is being available at the same time every week. Like, that alone is tough enough.
Yeah, that's true. You're not lying there. That's why I'm still trying to find a job, but I'm like, look, if I can't get off by 7, I don't want to do it.
Report your matches and be on stream. I'm gonna say at it's gonna tell me what to play. We're gonna try not to stream all of the matches just because of the quality of the matches. I don't want to put you guys through that.
Do either of you do any public speaking outside of this? Like, there's a team you speak question. That'll help me a lot. Yeah, I mean, I do at Foot Locker, and you have to deal with customers who ask dumbass questions. Y'all open? Nah, fam, I just love to answer the company phone. I just take it home and just hold it dear to my heart. But that's about as much public speaking as I got. I probably need to enunciate more because I'm soft spoken. So I just. Thirsty. What?
Atomic Buster didn't answer me.
Do you do voice work outside of commenting? I don't even know what kind of voice work could I do? Cause you have to apply, right? For like, be it. I don't know. Flakes asked if we did any voice work outside of commentary, and I couldn't think of anything else you could really do.
I've considered doing stuff like that, but like I do the podcast and stuff like that.
Oh, I mean, if you're kind of, I have a podcast.
That's not professional voice work, but I've considered it. People have said that I've got one of those voices, you know, that I like to hear on. I got one of those. I got the face for radio.
Boy, have I heard that.
All right.
That made me cry when I heard it. I did.
Alright, back at the queue, let's get things going. Alright, they actually didn't play their set, so we're gonna kind of let this one rock.
I mean, I definitely do it. I don't know if my voice would sound good for voice acting, but yeah, I'll do it.
I've pretty much set everything up to do like professional voice recording. Because I was going to record a version of Geef's Gym with audiobook.
Yeah, that's usual.
I was going to, but that's one of those things that just like time has eluded me. There's just So many, because I thought about it this way, and I will very likely try and get one done for the 3rd edition of Geefsgen. But the issue with that is twofold: that the game kept changing, and
that's honestly why I was surprised.
That's number one. And like, it's fucking long. It takes a long time to do that shit. Like,
That's why I was surprised you came out with AE so fast.
and also like, I'm doing a lot of writing in between then too. Like, there was so much to do for like character stuff, and like right now there's like a ton of character supplements to do that I still need to get on and update. But also I'm like 95% sure there will be a patch coming before the next character is announced. So like, why start and do all that stuff if there's going to be a change in what works and what doesn't work? I don't know, but like, I don't know. There's so many. That's the other thing, is that I also get in my own head of there's so many reasons not to do a thing that I eventually don't. When it's like, how else have I spent my time? But I do bullshit like this, where trying to commentate a match, but the game isn't running properly at all, so it's just impossible to actually commentate. But that's just me feeling sad about the reality that we're all living through right now. Thought about it though.
Final round. Fight.
I'd like to do voice. I mean, I wouldn't know where to apply for. The other thing about doing voice acting is that I actually have a full-time job that is like, it is a very full-time job, in that sometimes it, like, I will sometimes work weekends in addition to a 40-hour week. I could not be in state for extended periods of time. Like, there's a whole number of issues with my actual job that make that not viable to do, perhaps, with my own personal life schedule, with the job that actually makes me real money. So, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, Flakes, I don't though. If they paying, Flakes, wait, I am broke. I need money. If they paying, go ahead and send that my way. And I mean, like, you know how like, people say, oh, some people only see opportunity in this paycheck. Dude, when I'm in debt, I'll tell you that much. If I wasn't in debt, I'd do all the free stuff I can, but you know, bill collector can't.
That's a fucking life killer.
Oh man. Oh man. I actually hate my mindset, but because of my current situation now, but
anyway, I hope you guys are all doing okay and alright with this particular setup. It's not ideal, I understand, and I wish everything was better and we could commentate these matches for real, but
because it's not like the tournament's not still going on. That's the beauty of all this madness, is the tournament.
Round 2. Fight.
So, Bran Flakes, that's sometimes fine, but I will also say, what killed the freelancer? Ask the police officer to the coroner, to which the coroner replied, exposure.
Dollar rollies.
You can't do everything for exposure. It's Delzone, what? I hate you so much.
Brand Flakes, I just typed in the chat. Go ahead, hit me with that follow or message me on Twitter, whichever one.
I mean, Delzone,
I'd try it.
Street Fighter V should not be taking up more CPU usage than XSplit. It shouldn't, but it is. You tell me where the problem comes in. And like, it has been getting progressively worse ever since AE. I gotta I gotta not think about that because it'll just make me angry. I cannot think about that because it's just making me angry. Thinking about how this is running. Because this isn't how things run. It's like deal should have stayed.
Anything else you want to know from me and Joe?
Yeah, so we're just hanging out, talking about whatever comes to mind, having a good time. Talking about whatever. Back the line and be good to go. Welcome to the dumpster fire, folks. Download. How much wham do you see? That all right? So if you know, this video will always get me. How much wham for server? How much? I don't have enough wham for server. Dedicated wham for server. I shouldn't be laughing as much as I am, but this will always. This will always make me laugh. How much dedicated wham do I need for server?
So this one.
I shouldn't laugh at this, but it makes I cry every time. Just thinking about it. Hey, what are like some? Just paint a word picture for me, chat, of videos what make you laugh every time you see them.
Round one.
That's one of them for me. And also, let me find it during this stream while you talk amongst yourselves.
I don't know. I have. The future, ladies and gentlemen.
Like this one for me makes me I cannot watch that video and not laugh. Dedicated wham.
Round two.
The universe is good. That's good. The Totino's pizza rolls from Tim and Eric will always get me. Or the it's not Jackie Chan. Name something that's not Jackie Chan. Go.
Oh no.
I'm Totino's pizza boy. That's pretty good. I understand the critique against Tim and Eric with, oh, it's just so random. Like, it's just random things, to which I say, okay, it is, but also, it's like, it is a trip in terms of editing. The editing is so fantastic. And that's what really gets me.
Final round.
I think if you could go random and make it funny, like it's easy. The way it's supposed to go and be funny, but if you go random and think outside the box and make somebody laugh, that's something different.
For me, it's the editing, because it's so spot on that, like, cable news, like, level of shittiness, but, like, they're doing it intentionally. It's kind of like, are you familiar with Black Dynamite?
Akuma wins.
Dynamite! Yeah, kinda.
Black Dynamite is a fake black exploitation kung fu movie, which is one of the funniest movies of that like reverent genre. There are so many good bits that are like intentionally done so that like if they were trying to ham it up, it would be not funny, but because they're so earnest about it, it is. Every joke lands. Black Dynamite is hilarious. Highly recommend that. A genuinely good movie. Black Dynamite on Adult Swim. What's that?
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. I'm thinking of Black Dynamite. That was a cartoon.
It's related to the movie?
Could be, I don't know.
Round 2. Fight.
Anyway, folks, if you're wondering why we're not oh, they're making a Black Dynamite too? Oh, that makes me so happy. But also nervous because how do you get lightning to strike in the same place twice? I feel like they're better off pursuing like a different genre and making an earnest, like an 80s action movie. I would like that. If you guys are wondering why we're not commentating the particular matchup, it's because
we don't care.
it's running terribly on my PC for whatever reason. It's no change. It's gotten progressively worse after AA launch. So I was told to maybe reinstall the game. I'll probably do that. Hopefully that fixes the issue. Hopefully, I'm gonna run some tests after we're done here, but we're just gonna run it, get the matches on that are available. For the players, let them run basically until they can't run in any more matches, so they're in and out of here as quickly as possible. Because for them, that's the other thing, is that for the players, it's the connection is fine. It's just my PC that is running it slow for whatever reason. I just gotta keep saying that though, because there's a level of professionalism that I try to bring to every stream, even though it's extremely amateur. At least I try and make it as professional as possible, because that gives a level of. So that's the thing. I try to be as professional as possible for online tournaments, because a lot of other online tournaments in the fighting game community are very much chill and hangouts, and not focused on the actual competition of the night. And that's fine, and like that works very well for those tournaments and those communities, and that's great. I don't want to discourage that at all, but there's not enough, at least in my opinion, there's not enough emphasis on online tournaments in the fighting game community that gives credence to the players and their abilities to compete like on a main stage. Because I would say that a lot of our players are like they deserve to be highlighted and deserve to be on a quality stream that highlights their abilities in a competitive manner. And I think the tournament definitely has the competition for them to like show their prowess, but I also want there to be a level of professionalism which comes along with that from the presenter's side, to say, yes, this match has value, yes, these players have value, and yes, they deserve to be on a main stage. That's how I come at it. Anyway.
And also, a lot of our players can actually.
Yeah, they're good enough to be fine.
Nephew, Miyagi, Aladdin, Mike Too Strong, Girls on Fire.
What am I doing?
Who am I forgetting? Symphony, Trev, Patty King. I don't know anymore. I'm sorry. What's up? And everybody else. Just name a few. And if I didn't name you, I'm sorry. I love you. Long time. Long time, love you.
You gonna lose the semis? Ooh, shit. I need to change Battleline settings.
To best of tree.
I should probably invite. Alright, invite sent to everybody. I'm gonna go around this thing and be alright.
Why don't I said make my character money much more.
Round 1. Fight.
Flex on. Sorry, I'm talking to people in the chat if you want to kind of cover what's going on.
Oh, my bad.
How we doing? How we doing? Yeah, just Joe's computer. Oh no, I guess Street Fighter 5 is just not running well for Joe's computer. So that's why we kind of been having to do this tonight. But actually, I enjoy nights like tonight. It makes you appreciate
Round 2.
the good time. Yeah, you know what I mean? If we could do this in the bad times, just imagine the, you know? And then who were some of your guys' top 5 inspirations? I knew you were talking about. Kind of curious to see where the chat goes. Because there's a lot of different opinions, you know?
The Raid is sick. Also, the Raid 2, also very sick.
I don't even know what that is.
Also, now that we're talking about like action movies from Thailand, like The Raid 2, Ong Bak, The Protector, all very good movies. Ong Bak 2 not so much good. But
I need to watch like different type of movies. Not even different type of movies. I need to watch like a. It's not the stream. It's Street Fighter 5.
Zangief wins.
Don't worry, it'll be back to normal next week. It's just for this stream, it just didn't work.
yeah, sorry folks.
So you
Yeah, sorry about that, Soul Company.
Fight.
The for whatever reason, Street Fighter 5 just running like ass.
pure ass.
It's just taking so much of my CPU, like more than XSplit, which should not be the case at all. I was told that perhaps deleting and re-downloading Street Fighter 5 might be the best option. I'm gonna try that.
I would definitely say,
Immediately following this.
yeah, I would definitely say try that first and then maybe see if it works. Because best case scenario is probably your computer, right?
Yeah. Yeah, oh well. Yeah, no, that's okay. That's okay, the 8th man, buddy. Because it can't be stressed enough how much I want to give reverence to the players. And having a stream like this, where really we're only having it on stream so that there is like evidence of the thing having happened. And you know, if people want to like go back and actually watch the tapes, like they can have that too. But really only still streaming because there's some credence I want to give to the players. Like, players come first in any tournament setting. If you join a tournament or are part of a tournament experience where players do not come first, then fuck that. Fuck all that. And if I'm doing something wrong by the players or you guys at all, like, I want to know about it. I want to know.
You know what? All right, hey, chat. Next person that comes in here and they say something like that, just say it's them. Just have them freaking out. They're like, what the hell? No, it's not. No.
Anyway, I'm all out of booze. I had like maybe a quarter of a growler's worth. It's all gone. Went out to East End. East End Brewery with my wife this weekend.
Do you drink on like Tuesdays and stuff like that? Like when you're not doing the Reddit fighting? Or?
It depends. Like, am I doing stuff? Like, is
Or I don't know what you do once you get off work. You might chill since you're not doing the tournament.
it all depends on like life schedule stuff. Like if we're going out that night, then yeah. For the longest time, and this actually hasn't happened in a while because the bar that we used to go to, it has like changed its menu so often. It's like changed, not necessarily appearances, but like if you get enough like rotation of the people who are there, then it's essentially a different bar. That's kind of what happened. We used to go there every Thursday night for like the longest time. It typically would be after. Well, this is kind of like tied to like church stuff, but we would have like church band practice and then go off to drink at a certain bar that we'd always go to every Thursday night. They had a really good happy hour. They had like a late night happy hour, which was like super ideal. Late night, they were half off apps, half off on tap from like 10 o'clock to midnight, which is like crazy for a weekday. So we would go there and have really good beers, half off drafts. And they had a great tap was the other thing. It's like they had really good beer, not just like shitty beers on tap. Place was choice, but they kind of changed it and made it like a little bit more expensive. All the people changed, but then like my one friend who was like the other main friend, who like was one of the main people to set up us going, he started running his own food truck. So what me and my wife will do pretty often is actually find out where he's like parked, and we'll just go eat his food, because he's typically parked out in front of microbreweries in Pittsburgh, because there's like a lot of them now. And so we'll go find out where he's parked and go eat some of his delicious food. He's, in my opinion, I'm not just saying this because he's one of my best friends, but he honestly he's one of the best chefs in Pittsburgh. Like if there was a chef competition of him and the other best chefs of Pittsburgh, I think he's pretty top tier. He's definitely top 5.
What does he make?
So he's really gotten into like weird kinds of fusion of things of certain types of food that you wouldn't like say is like a fusion restaurant, but like are things that like make sense when you mix together. For example, he makes a ramen burger, which is ramen, like what's shaped into a burger patty and then a burger in the middle. He makes like grilled kimchi, which is grilled cheese with kimchi on it. Like he makes a very good banh mi, which is delicious. Or like he makes a frick, I'll fucking kill you. Or he makes a like he just started putting on his menu a bibimbap, which is like this delicious mix of food and rice. Like for the first time he's had rice on his food truck. I don't know, it's fucking delicious. So Sefric, what happened is that Street Fighter V is running very poorly on my computer, and has run poorly that was a sick link. Has run poorly every week, like ever since AE, and has gotten like consistently worse. So like it's just eating up my CPU. It's like it's doing a Pac-Man on my CPU and just munching into it more and more every week. It demands more. Anyway, that's the case for that. I have not, but I'm going to immediately following this tournament. I have not tried reinstalling, but I'm going to. The other thing is, I don't know, his food is so good. It's like some of the best food I've ever had. Like specifically his mix of like vinegar and other flavors and like lemon zest. It's so good.
That's pretty dope. That's your friend too.
Yeah, it's It's really good, and I'm like, he's doing like super well, and I can't be happier for him. Mike Too Strong lost. What a goof.
Necalli wins.
All right. Any other questions, you jerks?
Yeah. Any other?
Sefric, that's not a bad idea. Actually, after this, I'll actually probably have some time. Sefric, after this, do you want to stream some casual Street Fighter 4? You be into that? You be free in a minute? I'll stream some casual Street Fighter 4.
Well, because the tournament's about to end here soon.
But yeah, I mean, we're at winners finals right now. We're gonna do winners finals next.
I don't have 4, but yeah, I think I'd love to watch you guys watch 4.
Go to the back of the queue, Yizzy and L.I. Bonneville. Bonneville. Be here, do you want to drop down to the back?
Yeah, my thing.
Going into winners finals. Sorry about that.
I'm
Folks.
guessing you was Zangief too in
Oh yeah.
4.
Oh yeah.
Let's do this.
Oh yeah. Definitely Zangief. Instant transmission, where we... Oh, that's a Dragon Ball Z reference. I don't know. I've got like pretty good wrestler hair right now. It's very greasy. Actually, that's not true. I washed it this weekend. It's actually pretty floofy. It's pretty floofy. Washed it yesterday. Got all this floof going on. Got all that. It's too much floof. Does anybody else feel like this costume makes Karen's face look weird? I do.
I can see that.
Oh, Sefri, you should have seen WWF Christmas a couple years ago. I was the Undertaker. My hair, I oiled up for that Christmas. That was a dope Christmas. Where would I? Oh yeah, I oiled. Think about that. I oiled up for that Christmas. We've had some weird fucking Christmases ever since that. Oh, Abigail. A couple years back, my brother was like, you know what? We don't have any kind of. We don't have any traditions. Why doesn't our family have any traditions? And I'm like, okay, that's true, we don't. And my mom was like, alright, we don't. And my brother was like, okay, assholes, why don't we have we might as well have Mexican Christmas. And then everyone was like, fuck you, we're gonna have Mexican themed Christmas. So we had a full-on Mexican themed Christmas that year.
So what does that mean?
It means celebrating Mexican culture in as much as we could or knew how to for Christmas. We had.
So it would essentially be celebrating.
It was
the Cinco de
effectively
Mayo?
a Jesus quinceañera. We all know that it was Christmas is Jesus' birthday. It was as if we were celebrating a quinceañera for Jesus Cristo. Jesus quinceañera is effectively what happened, and it was a great time. That was a super fun Mexican. Everyone was dressed in attire, which would be, good for that. And then ever since then, it's been, what themes do we do? And we'll have that discussion at Thanksgiving every year. We have a family vote, and whatever theme is the decided upon theme is what we go with. And a couple of years ago was WWF Christmas. My brother came as Macho Man Randy Savage. My sister came as Ric Flair because there's not really that many great lady, or at least she wasn't familiar with good lady wrestlers, you know, at the time. There are better examples of lady wrestlers today, I would say, than there were, you know, of yesteryear. In WWF times, there wasn't that many great examples.
They definitely have more purpose, though, I would say.
Round 2. Fight.
That's my sister you're talking about, Cedric. My wife came as Dan Bryan because she liked saying yes. She thought that was fun to chant yes at Christmas during Christmas. That was a very fun Christmas. That was a fun Christmas. Last Christmas was a very Murray Christmas. We had Bill Murray Christmas, where you came dressed as the best Bill Murray you could think of. Or at least a Bill Murray from, you know, whatever movie you could think of. We've had some weird Christmases. WWF Christmas was probably the weirdest Christmas. Because
What about the year before that?
as Christmas music, we just had WWE intro music
Oh my.
instead of like Christmas music playing in the background. It was that bullshit, which was fun. Psst. Man, Bonnavoot starting the motor. Did I not change the settings? Battle Line settings? Is this not best of 5?
I thought you did.
Are they still in a match?
No, we're back in the main menu.
Yeah, but they're still like up against each other.
I guess you didn't change it then.
No, I just checked and it is changed. And they're still playing against each other. Yeah, it's first to 3. I definitely changed it because it.
Oh,
yeah,
he's
of course,
switching. He's
it was
switching.
first 3 beforehand. So, oh, he's switching characters. Okay. Alright, so we're back in the queue. I wonder why it hasn't like reset. Oh, Slick Deals
Oh.
needs to. Okay, fuck him. Just give him the boot and then send him another invite. I see. I got confused. I see what happened.
Let's do this.
Alright, so Eli Bonnavoot is up 2-0 against Easy. That should be represented in the score, as you can see now. Speaking of wrestling, the best wrestling that I've seen in a while is actually with Lucha Underground. Lucha Underground, I would say, is like legitimately like good wrestling storytelling, and also good wrestling. It's good wrestling. Probably better than what's going on in the WWE right now. Definitely, I would say.
True. And they also do it by seasons too, which I think like you can actually have a build up and a payout at the same time if you do it by seasons. Where WWE has to do it every week and it's more so just like I only have to write for I could literally write a whole storyline before our next show.
So for the you can actually watch Lucha Underground like on iTunes, and now it's on Netflix. You can watch season 1 of Lucha Underground on Netflix. It's good shit. And maybe also season 2.
I'll check that out.
I'll have to check with that. But season 1 of Lucha Underground is legitimately so good. It's very good. But to answer the question from Brand Flakes, what would Street Fighter 5 be if it was a pizza top? Or wait, what's your favorite? Fuck was the question? What's our favorite pizza topping? Favorite
Pineapple.
pizza topping? Pineapple. We got a pineapple, man. I'm okay with pineapple. And my answer to that question is that I have such a love for pizza that I won't hate a single topping. You put any like typical topping, I'll even go buck wild with some toppings. I'll be okay, but like, I'll be alright. Things will be okay. If money wasn't an issue, and I could do any job, I would work in the pizza delivery industry. My job at some point would just be to make sure that pizza is delivered to people's faces. Would be the ideal situation for me.
My whole thing is like, I really don't think pineapple got that on.
No, it's good.
I just think you don't like pineapple like that.
You get a little bit of ham in there. It's like, think about.
Ooh, that sounds good.
It's a sweet and savory thing. You get the sweet, you get the savory, you get the salty. It's a whole good flavor combination. It's fine. Yo, is Yuzi gonna come back with this?
He's making a case for it.
This is like a really good set, actually, and I'm super bummed that it's not running well enough for us to actually commentate.
I know, right?
Because if Yuzi can come back from this 2-0 to take him to the mirrors, this is actually pretty sick. He has been letting L.I. Bonneville get away with kind of a lot of V-Trigger 1 bullshit that has been working, but he's got those low confirms. He's one touch away. Ooh, overhead to do it though. Not enough to kill, but that'll do it. Pineapple on pizza is fine. It's fine. Anyone who thinks it's gross, either hasn't tried it or doesn't have a refined palate.
Mm-hmm.
So, Sefric, the consensus on Blanca is that he's the least bullshit that Blanca has ever been in the life of Blanca. Is he gonna double Pete on? Oh, he took Chip. Okay, he actually got it up there.
So you got that hood perfect.
Yeah, well, not yet. I mean, you could come back with a full bit.
Yeah, I mean, if anyone could do
it's actually, so in those situations there, it's actually super smart for Yizzy to just take the guard break. Because look at the damage. No damage. No damage. Uh-oh. He's almost dead, though. He can't be
overhead.
Doing some bullshit. Okay, the overhead. I'll take it. This match is actually super good.
The fact that he still...
that we're watching right now. Although we can't, like, see it in real time, this is kind of awesome. Yeah, Sefric is correct. If you want to talk about actual wrestling, that Kenny Omega versus Okada is a must-watch. People complain about characters too often. Purple Pickle. By the way, Purple Pickle, if you are just joining us, one, your name is hard to say after half a growl. Also, number two, is actually, as you can see, the match is, you're getting some jumping, and it's that what's happening here is that because Street Fighter V is running very poorly on my computer, it's eating up basically my entire CPU for I don't know why. And because of that, it's causing the game to run kind of slow, and then catch up during moments where it can catch up. So it's not allowing us to commentate the match as we typically would. However, with that said, I do want to give credence to these players and say that this is a really good set, actually, and the level of competition is really good. Like, this is a great set, actually. And Yizzy is very close to making a comeback here if L.I. Bonneville can't make some changes here, which he seems to be doing, actually. Although this is only winners finals, so Yizzy will have a second chance if he does get sent to the losers bracket. And also, it's worth saying that for these people, it is playing just fine, but it's just for, and that'll do it. L.I. Bonneville stealing it, really. That was a good set. Very good comeback from
Abigail
Izzy and a good prevention there from Eli Bonovic. We'll see how things go in the in grand finals if we get there with Izzy and Eli Bonovic. I'd be interested to see that.
True. Especially with the character switch, it made the world's difference in that match.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I almost want to see Eli Bonovic versus Izzy with Laura Abigail from set 1. Anyway, back at the queue, we're going to have Slick Deals and Yizzy up on stream next in Losers Finals. Oh, shit.
Back of the queue.
Alright, chat, how we doing, though? Thanks for sticking with me, chat. I
That's
really
what I'm saying.
appreciate that. Yeah, I feel like I wouldn't be able to get through this particular tournament had it not been for the chat.
Let's do this.
I would have ended this a while ago and just let these players play. I don't know, because that's the thing. It's not GPU related; it's CPU related, and I don't know if the graphics settings has anything to do with that.